Darren Wilson bags up, runs over my son's foot. My son like, what the? He grabs him by his throat, try to pull him in the car.
Who the Officer Wilson is?
So he's choking him. My son's hand is on the car, rocking, trying to pull away. He reached for his gun. First shot, shoots my son's thumb off. Because as he's pushing the car, his thumb is open.
Okay.
He takes off running. He takes seconds to get out the car. He asks my son to stop. He stopped.
All right, peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. The man that you just saw speaking is the father of Mike Brown Sr. Mike Brown was the 18-year-old that you see on the screen right here, who was executed by the cowardly police officer Darren Wilson in Ferguson, Missouri. Now, I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing Mike Brown Sr., and he's going to give us the true depiction of what happened back in Ferguson in 2014, when the demise of his son caused a complete outrage and uproar throughout the nation and the world as his son laid on the ground for 4 hours for the whole world to see. So as you listen to this interview, just realize how the Ferguson police, the court system, tried to cover up what really happened and paint Mike Brown as some sort of monster who deserved what happened to him. Rest in peace, Mike Brown. Here's the rest of the interview.
All right, so I'm here with Mike Brown Sr., the father of Mike Brown, who was executed by the Ferguson police in 2014, correct? All right, so you were telling, we're down here in Mississippi working with some impacted families. So you were telling the audience a little while ago about what really happened on that day. A lot of people think they know what happened, but what do you know from the inside story about what you was telling us earlier?
Okay, well, I can start off 12 midnight, August 14th. Mike was in the store, Ferguson Market. He boarded. He gave some Arabs some cigarillos. Early that day, around 8 o'clock, same day, went back to the store to receive the relos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, store owners that's in the morning time don't know what the store is doing at nighttime.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if whatever you seen on TV looked like strong arm or whatever that was, he only went back for what he was owed.
Okay.
But the father that was over the store didn't know what he had did that night.
Okay.
Those are his sons, and whatever they do at night, they keep it away from him.
Okay.
So he went up for what he owed. He got what he needed. Him and his friend was walking down the street. Mind you, it was never a phone call for anything that happened at the store.
Okay.
So this officer that Mike been having run-ins with.
Oh, so they knew each other.
They knew each other. Synced them two walking down the street. Which the reason why they were walking down the street because there wasn't any sidewalks at the time. If you go through there now, there are sidewalks.
Okay.
So he asked him to get out the street. Darren said, we just going to my house, the apartment right here. We'll be out your way. They walked on. Darren Wilson bags up, runs over my son's foot. My son like, what the? He grabs him by his throat, try to pull him in the car.
Who the Officer Wilson is?
So he's choking him. My son's hand is on the car, rocking, trying to pull away. He reached for his gun. First shot, shoots my son's thumb off. Because as he's pushing the car, his thumb is open.
Okay.
He takes off running. He takes seconds to get out the car. He asks my son to stop. He stopped. He asks him to turn around. He turns around. He walks up on my son, shooting him down. Shot him down on the ground. Mike had got shot 8 times. So
8 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
So At that point, Mike laid out there for 4.5 hours. The community came up, they rose up. Their excuse for Mike laying on the ground 4.5 hours, they say that there was other incidents that happened.
You mean the paramedics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, police.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, paramedics. No, corner paramedics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before I got there, they said a paramedic ambulance came up. They said to land on the ground. Officers told them to keep moving. So that was before I got there. This is information that I'm receiving later on after it happened. Yeah, he was there for 4.5 hours on the ground. The community rose up because this had hit every stream because he was down on the ground. Actually, you can drive to Chicago in 4.5 hours. That's how long he was on the ground.
Now, how long did you get the call?
Mike's other grandmother called and said that asked to speak to me. My wife gave me the phone and told me the police had just shot Mike. So I turned to my wife and was like, so the police just killed my son? So I can't even tell you about the ride there. The ride there was like a roller coaster. Because at that point, my mind went in the tunnel. I knew I was going where I was going, but I didn't realize how fast we were driving. My mind was trying to process. My mind was up under attack, trying to understand what I was just told. When we got there, I get out the car, Mike's mom run past. She like, Mike, what's going on? This ain't true. I said, I only know what you know. We get out there, I see Mike's hat. Me and my wife got married July 16th of that year, actually a month before he was murdered. So we had matching STL hats. He bought me a pair of flip-flops, and he always had weed socks on. So when I got out there, I seen the hat, I seen the flip-flop, one flip-flop over her, because he had and ran out the chute trying to get away. But he was covered. So I didn't see what the world seen. The world is a couple of pictures of flicks that's out here. They seen Mike uncovered.
Okay.
When I got there, Mike was up under a white bloody sheet. So that played a thing on my mind as far as trying to see if that was true, because they didn't never stop making STL hats. You know what I'm saying? They never stopped making Nike flip-flops. So
what was the original story that they gave you?
The original story they tried to give me was to rob the store.
Yeah.
That's the original story.
That was like right after.
But when the chief was asked, did you know that Mike had got something from the store? No. Did y'all get a call from the police department or dispatch to come to the scene? No. So why is he riding down the street with kids that he don't even know? Or where he know Mike, but why are you harassing children just walking down the street? So it's a personal feeling that he already had. You know?
So when did you find out the truth? Like as far as what you know now.
Actually, after all the interviews, we got a documentary called Stranger Fruit.
Stranger Fruit.
That's the whole cover up. You watch that movie. That's the whole cover up from A to Z on how they lied, how they tried to fix the lie after they said so, or why they said what didn't happen, and it did happen, because the forensics don't lie.
Okay, so
forensics don't lie.
Now I think I recall like a couple of the witnesses came up missing, right? Was it his friend or like somebody?
The community.
Is that true?
The community. So the community, a lot of the community people, you know, sadly to say, you know, our people ain't never had nothing, man. You get a payout, man. Shut up. You take the money and you'll leave.
Okay.
So what made the witnesses' reports not credible, because they wasn't showing up.
Okay.
Now we had a prosecutor named Bob McCullough at one time. Said his father got killed in the 80s or whatever. So he had a vindictive against black people. This guy was the judge, the prosecutor, and the jury. Never seen it done in America. Never seen it done anywhere. This prosecutor was the judge on making the call. He is the prosecutor, and he allowed and put people in place as far as being jury members or stuff like that. You know what I mean? So these people were made up.
Okay.
But the way he had it set up, as if he had all the evidence and everything that was clear. So where I'm at is, you never heard a prosecutor convict or not have a fair trial without a real jury, without a judge sitting there, just make the call on national TV that they're not going to do anything. That's what set Ferguson up in fire.
Okay, and I do remember that famous line that you said on TV after they said they won't convict him.
Oh, burn it down.
Yeah,
that wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
No, seriously, it wasn't me. That's Mike's mother, husband.
Oh, okay. So that
just
one.
Because he had that "I am Mike Brown" on the back of his shirt.
Okay.
He's a light skinned.
You're right.
I'm a dark skinned guy.
Okay, coming back. Okay, all right.
I'm a dark skinned guy.
So, but what I was saying was like not come up missing. Like if I'm not mistaken, like didn't a couple of witnesses get unalived?
Nah, those were activists.
Oh, well, I know about King Darren Seals.
Yeah, those were the witnesses. Witnesses come up there.
Okay.
They just disappeared.
Okay. Never.
You know
okay. They
disappeared.
Okay. All right. That's okay. That's why I got it. Okay.
That sound like payout to me.
So when they decided not to charge him, didn't they bring him back to trial later, or they never did anything about it?
Nah, we got another prosecutor. We voted them out. By McCullough, we got another prosecutor named Wesley Bell that was appointed. He promised to the family that he was going to do a thorough investigation, prosecute this guy. We went back through the papers or the evidence that was already did. He never did a thorough investigation, like going back out there, rewinding what happened. He just went off the stuff that Bob McCullough left and said that it was incredible when he prosecuted.
Okay. So basically y'all just kind of had to roll with it.
Yeah.
But now you're making that situation into a movement. So tell the people a little bit about what you got going on as a result of the situation.
So for one, I get my justice out my foundation. The name of my foundation is the Chosen for Change organization. It is up under the Michael Brown Foundation. So we do work with fathers and families, that are processing the unthinkable. One of our programs is Chosen Fathers. Another one is Mothers of an Angel. Another one is COPES, Children Overcome Painful Experiences. And the reason why we focus on the children is because we lack of getting them counseling and things like that, because we worry about ourselves, but we have to remember these children have grew up with they siblings. They still have secrets that they siblings been told. They slept in the same bed. So we try to give them healing and treatment too, you know what I'm saying? So it don't never be a thing where people trying to figure out why children are spiraling out of control.
Okay.
So half of the time is because they didn't get the treatment that they needed when they was going through the same thing we were going through as adults.
Trauma.
They don't think, some people they forget about the children. The siblings are always hurt too. So that's what COPES is built off of. We got First 48. We got Level Up for Literacy. Sadly, in St. Louis, it's a lot of children that can't read at a certain age. So we try to do after-school programs to get them the training and learning and stuff like that they need. The big brother, the big sister love, you know what I'm saying? Feeding them and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So that's what Level Up for Literacy is all about, so that's what we do.
I applaud you, man. I applaud your efforts. Once again, you made a negative situation into a positive. So
turning pain into purpose.
Turning pain into purpose. Okay. So look, I'm gonna let you go, man. But is there anything that you want to leave with the audience as far as what you're doing, your son, what happened, anything that you want the audience to know about you or your son that they don't know?
Okay. check out chosenforchange.org and see all the work that we're doing. What I definitely want the public to know that Mike was just not nobody. He had a father that loved him. He had a community that loved him. He had siblings that loved him. He had a stepmother that loved him. He had his mother that loved him. His grandmother's still alive. Both of them, they love him. So I'm humanizing him because he was dehumanized in his murder. So I want people to know that he was loved out here when he was alive.
Amen, man. I appreciate you, Mr. Brown.
Shout out to the brother, Mr. Michael Brown Sr. My brother, if you're watching this, man, very, very solid dude, man. You know, to have experienced what he has experienced and be able to still keep a level head. But not only that, fight for other people who are going through the same thing. As I mentioned in the interview, we were down in Mississippi fighting for justice of other people whose family has been taken by the police officers, and there has been no justice. And so I thank my brother for giving me that time. As you heard at the end, he was trying to humanize him, because if you were paying attention during that time, Mike Brown was dehumanized. They kept playing that video that I showed over and over and over and over and over again, almost trying to justify, okay, this was the reason that that officer took his life, because he had just strong-arm robbed a store, which, as you heard, it was furthest from the truth. Now, I know how Arab stores work. I was a young 18-year-old kid out, you know, smoking and things like that. That is not out of the norm. You know, that is, they trying to say, well, he robbed the store for some cigarillos, and you know, the police were trying to stop him. No, as he mentioned, there was never a call about what you saw or what everybody saw on the video. It was the young men walking down the street where there were no sidewalks. And this officer, and if you've been in any community in America, you know, officers oftentimes have the propensity to harass young black men. And with that, they have a love-hate relationship. So, you know, I can name several officers in Goldsboro, North Carolina, Meeks, Powers, Peanut. If you're from Goldsboro, North Carolina, you know those guys. Once they see you, it's on site. And so the fact that that interaction led to this is very believable. And you know, I believe that, you know, Mike Brown, as he mentioned, did exactly what many people said he did. He turned around, stopped running, and actually he was already shot before he started running. And there were several witnesses that came out initially and said, no, he had his hands up. He had his hands up. That's where the phrase hands up, don't shoot come from. And then, of course, as Mike Brown Sr. mentioned, as time went on, people got payout. Witnesses didn't go to court. You know, the evidence wasn't critical. The statements wasn't verifiable, because all of the witnesses were paid off, so they did not come. And then he mentioned that prosecutor who had a vendetta against black people was able to manipulate the entire situation, put evidence in place to just say we are not charging him, and that was it. But the one thing I think that kept that took the world by storm is how they let him lay out there for 4 hours and say, well, there's no coroner to come pick his body up. No, they laid that as a spectacle. As I mentioned, with lynchings of the past, they always made a public spectacle of it, but now they can do it on TV, so they don't have to send out the postcards as they did back then. And nevertheless, the community uprose, you know, they rose up and everybody rallied behind them, but still there was no justice. Even after a second prosecutor was brought in, the family still didn't receive any justice. And during those uprisings, as I mentioned, there were several activists that came up missing. King Darren Seals, I have to do his story, was found burnt up in a car, shot twice, and they said, I think it was self-unalivement. But King Darren Seals was really the grassroots movement of that, of that movement before it was co-opted by the Black Lives Matter organization. Black Lives Matter actually started just as a slogan, but then opportunists took it, co-opted it, and made it into this fraudulent organization that was only about themselves, as we've seen from history. But nevertheless, Darren Wilson went on to raise like $500,000. He's somewhere living high off the hog now. And so all of those people who are outraged about Carmelo Anthony's family raising money for his defense, where was that same outrage? Where was that same vitriol towards a police officer who took the life of 18-year-old Mike Brown? And once again, father said, he was a human. He was a kid. He was 18 years old. As you see the graduation picture, he was not some animal or monster as they portrayed him to be. He was actually, if I'm not mistaken, on his way to college. And so, for them to do that. And once again, imagery is a very powerful thing. That's why we have symbols. That's why everyone has a logo and those things, because when you see something, it gets embedded into your subconscious. And so throughout that whole time, that's all they showed. They didn't focus on what happened. As they said, he got shot 8 times. 8 times. In the news, I think they was only saying 4. So this is once again a testament of just the constant targeting of black men throughout America. I was reading in the Bible, John 15, I think the last verse in that chapter said, Jesus said, they hated me without reason. And I often ask the question, why do white men or white people hate black people so much? And that was my answer. I just got my answer. They hated me without reason. They hated Jesus without reason, but they hated Jesus because he was righteous. He was everything that they wasn't. And so that was my answer, to that question as I was reading this one. But shout out once again to Mike Brown Sr. Make sure you go to his website, chosenforchange.org, and all of the people that he is helping. I met a lot of those chosen fathers, a lot of those mothers of angels, and he made a very point, like, these people are family. These people are human. They have families. Like, they're not just some news story. They are real people, and real people were affected by what happened to them. So I got a chance to meet a lot of those mothers and family members, and uncles and sisters and brothers, and all of these people still just pleading, banding together, to off of what they call them trauma bonds. And they're making something positive out of them. So once again, shout out to my brother, Mike Brown Sr. Like I said, if you ever need me, my brother, you see my number, man. But it was definitely a pleasure to meet you. And once again, my hearts and prayers go out to y'all family as well. So thank y'all for tuning in as well. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, share the video. As always, you see my number, 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings.